Welcome to HortTube. Super excited about this video. I've come to Boring, Oregon, to Iseli Nursery. This is one of the most incredible gardens I've ever seen in my entire life, and it's in the middle of a very large nursery. Robbie, would you like to introduce yourself and tell folks a little bit about this garden?
Absolutely. So I am the marketing director at Iseli, and so we have a 3-acre garden around the building. It started in about 1986, so we have a lot of areas for testing plants and also for cuttings and ultimately to show mature sizes. The farm itself is about 1,000 acres. It's about 2.5 miles from end to end. We grow everything that we ship at this location, and we ship across the US and Canada.
Yeah, so this is a wholesale nursery, but I can almost guarantee you, because I know at least probably 4 garden centers in Raleigh where I can get plants from this nursery. So if you have a garden center in your area, that's your primary customer, right?
Independent garden centers.
Independent garden centers. You can go to your independent garden center and request these things if they order from them already, or maybe by you requesting them, it would be a customer for you guys potentially.
Absolutely,
right?
yes.
Right. Okay. You guys have introduced a lot of plants. This is a very famous nursery. This is not a place that's just finding plants to grow. They're in the process of evaluating and introducing plants. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And we're constantly in that process. It takes about 15 to 20 years from inception to market. So it's a really drawn out process, but we just keep introducing new plants over the years. So we do improvements over existing cultivars. So improvements on color, shape, size. One of the things we're known for is dwarf conifers. So a lot of our plants that we introduce are of a more compact nature.
Right, because a lot of these things that we see tags on that say 2, 3, 4 feet.
Yes,
exactly. They actually don't. There's no off switch. They keep growing. So you guys are continuing to shrink them.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Right, okay. So tell us about this blues collection that you guys are introduced.
Yeah. So Iseli Blues is our latest collection. So it's a collection of Picea pungens, blue spruce. So we have 2 that we've introduced recently. So this is Moonstone. This is a smaller spruce that's intended to be a update of Globosa.
Yeah.
So Globosa tends to get a leader over time, but Moonstone does not. So it's about a 2x2 size, and it grows about, I'd say, 1 to 2 inches per year, and it has a nice icy blue color.
So how old is that plant, you think?
Oh, I'd say probably about 10 years.
10 years. So keep that in mind, as you're thinking about, pricing on things as well, because that's a 10-year-old plant where I could probably take a cutting off a leafy evergreen osmanthus and fragrance and finish it in maybe 24 months in a certain area in the country. Yeah, this is 10 years.
It's a very long timeline. Yes.
Right, and then the evaluation of it before that also adds to, so like I could take a leafy evergreen plant and bring it to market maybe in less than 10 years, where you may double that. Just the evaluation's also going to take longer.
Absolutely, yes.
Right, yeah. Right. So what's the upright one that's back here?
So this is Monty. So this is a combination of Hoopsai and Montgomery. So this is an improvement over Montgomery, and it'll get a size of about 8x6. So it has a denser shape. It should be about a Christmas tree shape, triangular in nature, and a lot denser. So at Iseli, we are largely known for conifers. We have about maybe 80% conifers to 20% maples. We grow a variety of Japanese maples, and we also have a collection of hybrid maples. So we've hybridized Korean maples with Japanese maples to keep the hardiness and the structure of the Korean maple and combine it with the aesthetic qualities of the Japanese maple. We have 2 collections. One is hardy to Zone 4, that's our Jack Frost collection, and one that those that have been selected for that aren't hardy to Zone 4 but are Zone 5 are in our Pacific Rim. So Ice Dragon here is one of the 3 in our Jack Frost collection. So it gets a size of about 10 by 15. It has a nice orangey blush quality when the leaves first come out, turns into a nice green throughout the summer, and then is gradually turning to a nice orangey fiery color in the fall. So this is North Wind. This is also in our Jack Frost collection. This is a Zone 4 hardy as well. So it gets about 25 feet tall by 15 wide. It's a nice upright maple. It has nice color in the spring, kind of a pinky blush as well, that then transitions to a green, and then it's beginning to get a nice red fall color. It also has pink samaras or seeds that grow upright rather than the Japanese maple, which tend to hang down. So that adds another accent of color to this maple.
So one of the big complaints on my channel is I never show anything that's cold hardy. So we were showing zone 2 cold hardy things today, right?
Absolutely. So these are both zone 2 hardy. So this is a larger specimen of Monty. You can kind of get a better idea of its ultimate size and shape. So this is our garden size essentially. So this would be a mature size for the Monty.
Wow, how old is that one, do you think? From the beginning of the evaluation?
Oh, that's always a hard question.
Yeah, but I mean, just as a guess, it's gotta be.
I'd say probably 15.
15 years, wow.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Let's transition down. You have a new series of Mugo pines, also zone 2 hardy.
Zone 2 hardy,
right?
yeah.
Okay, let's talk about those.
Absolutely. So these are, we have a collection of 12 Mugo pines in our trudwarf collection. This is our most recent introduction. So this is called Pesto because it has a nice green color. And this is a very low profile. So our garden size for this is about 10 inches tall by 1.5 feet wide, but it does continue to just spread. So the buds grow upright in the spring and then they just flatten out. So you can prune it to keep it even more flat, but it essentially is going to function sort of as a ground cover. And it is hardy down to zone 2, but it can definitely go all the way through zone 8 and even edging into zone 9, but you might want to provide a little bit of shade in the hotter months for that.
That's what we do.
I know that some people do grow it down in LA, but again, protection is probably ideal in that situation.
Right. Our issue in the Southeast typically is more humidity related than anything else. But we have our blue spruce is in where we're getting about 3 hours of midday sun, 4 hours of midday sun, and it's in a little slightly protected space. It's not, we don't get quite the color that we would get, but we can grow them. It's just the same thing we have to think about on these. It's just like 15 hours of our intense heat combined with the humidity, it's just too much. But we can grow. So you can test these things, in your gardens in the South. Just you have to provide some shelter. Just it's not the thing you put up by your mailbox, in zone 8 in the Southeast.
All right, so this is another one of our introductions. This is Cyadopides propeller. So you can see a slight curvature on the needles on this one, which gives it its name, propeller. And it's about an 8x5 size, zone 5 hardy, and it can take some humidity throughout the summer.
So I was just joking that we were covering lots of cold, very, very cold tolerant things, but you guys do a lot of conifers that can be grown in the Southeast. So that would include cryptomeria, cephalataxis, podocarpus. What else am I missing?
Cyadopides?
Yes, and junipers.
Yep, absolutely.
So there are actually lots of things in your catalog that will be available to folks in the Southeast that,
Certainly.
Yeah, and lots of thuyas as well.
Absolutely. So this is Primo. This is an Iseli introduction. So it gets about 4 feet tall by 1 foot wide. So certainly a narrow, great for small spaces, for container growing. And it almost looks like a Chamaecyparis, but it is a thuya. We have a little group here, and then we have them throughout the garden because they're just a really cute, great plant. Yeah,
it is a fantastic one. This is one we have in our garden. If you go and look at any conifer video we've put up in the last year, we have this. And then we have hedgehog, the cephalataxis. What else do we have from the garden that we just talked about? Twinkle toes. We have the cryptomeria twinkle toes, which you don't have one in the garden, but that's another introduction you guys have made. It's a really tight, compact cryptomeria. So we can have cryptomeria from this big to some monsters that are out here in the garden, 75 feet tall, something like that.
Sure.
So tell us more about the rest of the Mugo pine collection.
Absolutely. So this is our trudwarf garden. This is something that we put in about a year ago. One of the great things about this location for them is it's a full sun, it's very shallow, so they're very tough, and they can demonstrate that in this location. So throughout this location we have a variety of different mugos. We have white bud, which is known for its white colored buds throughout the winter. We have some more mounded options like Slow Mound, which is a 6x8 size. We have Minima Calouse, which has a more compact, shorter needle, and it has nice buds throughout the winter. And then there's Emerald Dwarf, which is also more of a compact, shorter one that has a nice vibrant green throughout the growing season.
And we already talked about Pesto, which is almost a ground cover.
Absolutely. So Pesto is one of our lowest profile Mugo pines, but they come in all shapes and sizes. And one of the great things about them is that they're very compact. So with a lot of pines, they tend to be more open and you can see the dead needles on the interior. These you do not. So it's really an emerald green throughout the entire year, and it provides a lot of consistency.
Right. You have a tremendous amount of Mugo pines in this garden, some that are as big as 12, 14 feet down to the ones in your collection here, these little tight, compact habits.
Absolutely. So with all conifers, they will continue to grow. We give a garden size which is typically about 10 to 15 years out, but given time, all conifers can get quite large, and we do have some impressive specimens in the garden. That's true.
Yeah, and it's kind of, we talk about this frequently. The plants don't read the tags, and so they're going to keep going.
Right, and so I always say it's more of an indication of a habit and a growth rate. So whenever you're looking at a tag like that, it's not a final size, but just an indication of how long it takes to get to a certain point.
And once they're established, they'll take pruning. They're not this, that you can prune them to shape.
Absolutely, and a lot of the plants throughout the garden are sheared or pruned to kind of maintain their natural form, so I wouldn't be afraid to shear them. They can definitely be left on their own and they will maintain a nice shape. And I would also point out, so these are grown by cutting, so a lot of Mugo pines historically were grown by seed and they had a lot of variability. All of ours are by cutting, so they will be exactly how we say that they will be, and you can further prune them to maintain the shape that you desire.
Nice. Thank you so much for showing us around the garden. There's going to be several videos from this trip here, including my November checklist video, just because you can't get enough of this garden. And this is a great learning experience for me. Get to leave someplace where I kind of know, feel like I know most everything, or identify it at least, and come here and go, I feel like I have nothing. I feel like I haven't spent any time in this business. Was it like that for you, taking this position?
Absolutely, yeah. It was a very steep learning curve, and
right.
Every day I learned more. There's, a wide world in the conifer and maples, and always learning more. I think it's nice to challenge myself in that way.
Yeah, same for us, being out on the road doing this. So thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Thanks for watching, guys.